good afternoon, and welcome back once again to the Prairie. For those of you who joined us last night for our reunion kickoff, I hope you enjoyed the wonderful performances by Sarah Pierce, class of 1981, Brett Williams, class of 1990, and Lily Wilson, class of 1991. And if you missed them, you can view them in their entirety here on the FVS YouTube channel. We are here in the Hacienda because this is where it all started, which makes this a fitting location from which to begin today's broadcast. This afternoon, we will honor alumni who have distinguished themselves as artists, as athletes, in service to Fountain Valley School, and to the world. We'll begin with the Athletic Hall of Fame and FVS Athletic Director Steve Tulliners, who is in the Julian Spencer Penrose Athletic Center. Then we will jump to the Art Barn, where our Arts Department Chair Curtis Singmaster will induct the newest members of the Arts Guild. And then we'll be back here in the Hacienda for our Distinguished Alumni Awards. Thank you for joining us. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Steve Tulliners, you're up.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Tulliners, and I have the privilege of serving as the school's Director of Athletics. When I arrived in July of 2020, evidence of the proud legacy that preceded me could be found here in this magnificent athletic center and in the accomplishments of our athletes chronicled in the Hall of Fame. What drew me here to FVS was the unique combination of traditional sports such as soccer and volleyball that take place side by side with sports inspired by the school's Western heritage and landscape, which is reflected by those whom we will honor today. Fountain Valley School has a rich tradition of athletic success. This success is never achieved alone. It is a cumulative effort by student athletes, coaches, parents, and community supporters. The purpose of the Fountain Valley School Athletic Hall of Fame is to formally recognize the memory and contributions of these student athletes, coaches, parents, and community supporters. The Hall of Fame serves as a symbol of our appreciation of the excellence and devotion displayed by the celebrated individuals and teams, and will further maintain the sense of community and pride in FVS, as well as serve as a historical account of the athletic traditions of Fountain Valley School. And now, for the 2021 Hall of Fame inductees. First, Chris Ellis, class of 2006. Chris attended Fountain Valley his junior and senior years and made his mark as a Dane, breaking school records and performing at the highest level. He was a two-time captain of the soccer team and a senior captain in basketball. As a senior, he was named MVP of both teams. Chris set a new school record for assists, and at commencement, he was honored with the Varsity Club Award. His impressive soccer skills and academic record caught Colorado College's eye, where he played all 4 years and earned a spot on the prestigious Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference's Fall Honor Roll from 2008 through 2010. At CC's graduation, Chris was honored with the Van Dyst Award, given to an outstanding Colorado College athlete who demonstrates sound character, scholarship, and citizenship. Chris Ellis, class of 2006, for your impressive accomplishments and leadership as a scholar athlete, I am proud to induct you into the 2021 class of Fountain Valley School's Athletic Hall of Fame.
Hello. Thank you for the honor of inducting me into Fountain Valley School's Athletic Hall of Fame. I want to start by congratulating everyone else being honored tonight. While at Fountain Valley School, I played soccer and basketball, and it provided me an opportunity not only to compete, but to meet and spend time with my fellow classmates and great friends, some who I'm still very close with today. I was able to play soccer at Colorado College, and I'm grateful for my time at Fountain Valley School and all the skills I learned both on the field and on the court, but also in the classroom that allowed me to compete in college as an athlete, but also be successful as a student. I want to thank my coaches and my fellow athletes. I'm very appreciative to you all. And lastly, I would like to thank my mom and dad for investing in my education by sending me to Fountain Valley School and giving me the opportunity to play sports there and in college as well. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you again for this opportunity and this honor. I'm humbled and excited to be joining Fountain Valley School's Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Next is Sam Marquez, class of 1979. While Sam attended Fountain Valley just his junior and senior year, he tore up the fields and ice as a stellar multi-sport athlete playing hockey, lacrosse, and soccer, and he continues to both play and coach to this day. As a varsity lacrosse player at FVS, Sam earned letters and all-state honors both years, in addition to leading in most goals and total points. And at the end of each season, he was selected to play in the all-state games. Playing hockey for the Danes, he earned 2 varsity letters and was co-captain of the team his senior year. That year, he also led the team in goals, assists, and total points, and earned all-state honors. As a transfer student, Sam was ineligible to play varsity soccer as a junior, but he shined in his senior year. He was co-captain and earned both a varsity letter and varsity all-conference honors. Most importantly, on all teams, Sam took his responsibility as a role model seriously and made it a point to encourage younger players, pushing them to play hard and be the best they could be. Sam won the Varsity Club Award for Best Athlete at Commencement in 1979, and post-Fountain Valley, he continues to find success as an athlete and coach. He has gone on to give back by coaching youth lacrosse, ice hockey, and roller hockey, winning many championships. He has also helped coach and guide 3 players to positions on Division III college lacrosse teams. And while Sam was lacrosse coach at FVS rival school Alexander Dawson, he managed to eke out a 7-6 win against us in 2017. Sam continues to be a fierce lacrosse player, competing in the over 18 men's lacrosse league since 2009. At age 54, he was the leading scorer in the ULACS men's league on Team ESPN Classic. Sam Marquez, for giving it your all as a skilled and passionate athlete, and for giving back as a role model and youth coach, it is my great honor to induct you into the 2021 Class of Fountain Valley Schools Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Fountain Valley, for nominating me for this award for the Fountain Valley Athletic Hall of Fame. I'd like to thank my coaches in soccer, John Patton and Peter Thorpe, in ice hockey, Jake Emery and Bob Stewart, and in lacrosse, Scott McGregor and Bob Stewart as well. Thanks again, Fountain Valley, for the memories. And here's a picture of our 1979 lacrosse squad that defeated East.
And now, our third and final inductee, Jamie Logan, class of 1965. In the climbing world, Jamie is considered a legend and one of the great pioneers in North American free climbing. She joined the Fountain Valley Climbing Club as a student, and by the time she graduated, considered herself a true climber, pursuing the sport ever since. Her 3 most significant achievements include the first free ascent of the demanding Crack of Fear above Estes Park in 1966. By definition, a first free ascent is the first successful documented climb of a route without using equipment such as anchors and ropes. Jamie went on to make the first free ascent of the Diamond on Long's Peak in 1976. And in 1978, she achieved her most impressive accomplishment, the first ascent of the Emperor Face of Mount Robson in British Columbia at over 8,000 vertical feet. This route has been coveted by mountaineers for at least 40 years before Jamie's ascent. It was so challenging, the feat wasn't repeated until 30 years afterward. Other notable ascents include making the second American ascent of Eiger's North Face in the Swiss Alps and the 13th ascent of the Nose on the infamous El Capitan in Yosemite. During her long career, Jamie was an early advocate of clean climbing, switching from steel pitons that get hammered into cracks in the rocks to passive protection, which is far less destructive. She made a clean ascent of Grand Giraffe in 1967, becoming one of the first climbers to use passive protection in Colorado and perhaps North America. Jamie eventually went back to school to become an architect and owns J. Logan Architects, a thriving and award-winning architecture firm in Boulder that designs only carbon-neutral buildings. Of course, this includes climbing gyms. Jamie Logan, for your legendary career as a daring and pioneering climber, it is with great pleasure that I induct you into the 2021 Class of Fountain Valley Schools Athletic Hall of Fame.
Hi, I'm Jamie Logan, and I'm very proud to be inducted into the Fountain Valley School Athletic Hall of Fame. I started climbing at Fountain Valley. We started a climbing club, and we climbed at the Garden of the Gods in Cheyenne Canyon, and that was the beginning of what for me has been a lifelong passion. I've climbed all over the world, many big mountains and cliffs, and done some amazing first descents that I managed to live through. I'm very happy that Fountain Valley helped me get started doing it, and I still love it to this day. Thank you.
Chris, Sam, Jamie, congratulations and welcome to the Fountain Valley Schools Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Steve, and congratulations to this year's Athletic Hall of Fame inductees. The Arts Guild is next and will be presented by Curtis Singmaster, who joins us from the Art Barn. Curtis?
Welcome, alumni and friends, to Fountain Valley School's 11th Arts Guild ceremony. I'm Curtis Singmaster, and I am proud to be the chair of Fountain Valley School's Fine Arts Department. The Fountain Valley School Fine Arts Guild was created in 2010 to recognize artistic endeavors by our alumni, former faculty, and supporters. The Arts Guild also serves as a historical account to the role Fountain Valley played in these individuals' pursuit of the arts, as well as a symbol of Fountain Valley's appreciation of the excellence and devotion displayed by these celebrated individuals. Today, we will be inducting two new members, Lily Wilson, class of 1991, and David Cole, class of 1986, with whom we'll start. David is a renowned metalsmith whose lifelong work ranges from large-scale public art and architectural projects to fine jewelry. David's long-standing interest in metals and the history of tools, machines, and processes led to a position as conservator at the Ford Museum. He designed a handrail for Frank Lloyd Wright's Hannah House at Stanford and has produced metalwork for other historic buildings on campus. He is the founder of Kinematics Labs, along with collaborator Michael Brown. And they are sought after for their large-scale public art, which includes permanent works for the cities of Boise, Idaho, and Bend, Oregon, as well as the Coors Tech Center at the Colorado School of Mines. David was also guest curator and host of San Francisco Museum of Craft and Design's interactive exhibit, Dead Nuts, a search for world's most ultimately machined objects. And David preaches what he practices as senior adjunct professor at the California College of Arts. David Cole, for your remarkable career as artist, scholar, and teacher in the field of metalsmithing, it is my great honor to induct you into the Fountain Valley School Arts Guild.
I'm extremely grateful and honored to be invited into the FVS Arts Guild, and I want to sincerely thank the school very much for this privilege. When I saw the names of my fellow members, I was indeed humbled to be amongst such august company. Fountain Valley had a tremendous influence on my intellectual and moral development, and I will always reflect fondly on the many happy memories of the 4 years I spent there. Teachers like John Patton, Dr. Mullen, Dr. Phillips, Cecil Hogarth, Eric Waples, Peter Thorpe, and so many other influential, dedicated instructors created an environment where I felt nurtured, respected, and special. As a teacher myself, I can only marvel at the level of commitment they brought to their jobs. The friends I made at FVS are some of the most enduring relationships I have ever had, and they continue to evolve as I learn more about the amazing accomplishments and challenges my schoolmates have faced. What a gift to be among such wonderful people. There is definitely something very special about Fountain Valley, and the way it plants seeds that can take a lifetime to mature in different and unexpected ways. I had no particular facility in making art when I was a student, but as I aged, the lessons of so many teachers and the creative environment where artistic pursuits were deeply valued fostered a transformative experience in me that has made me who I am. Thank you, Fountain Valley, for the gift of curiosity, aesthetics, knowledge, and wisdom. I rely on them every day to bring me joy and discovery. Finally, I want to thank my good friend Chad Harrison for nominating me for this award, and to give a special shout out to Maya Durkham, who sometime in 1985 popped in a VHS cassette into the VCR in the Solar dorms, and we watched the movie Diva, which had a profound influence on me. I was introduced to minimalism and opera, warehouse loft spaces, Citroën traction Avants, Nagra tape recorders, wave machines, and how to properly butter a baguette. Thank you.
Up next is Lily Wilson, class of 1991. Lily's aspirations of building a career in music began in Spain, where she attended college and was drawn to the sound of flamenco songs wafting down from the caves above the city. She began writing and performing music in public and in clubs across Andalusia. After returning to the US and settling in Los Angeles, Lily grew into an accomplished singer-songwriter, releasing 5 CDs and winning the 2007 LA Music Award for Best Female Vocal Performance in the Adult Contemporary category. Her music blends folk, country, and pop genres. She has performed and recorded with Melissa Etheridge and Kenny Loggins, among several other prominent musicians. And Melissa Etheridge says, Lily Wilson's album, The Right Time, shows just why I love having her lend her talents to my work. She's an incredibly accomplished artist. The Aspen Daily News wrote, her voice is pure and soars in the down-home manner, not unlike Emmylou Harris. It's the beautiful, expressive vocals that shape and dominate her music. Fountain Valley has been fortunate to have been graced by Lily's talent at reunions, including this one, for which we are most grateful. Lily Wilson, it is with great pride that I induct you into Fountain Valley School of Colorado's Arts Guild.
I'm so honored and grateful to be receiving this induction into the Arts Guild at Fountain Valley. It kind of feels like yesterday that I was a student there myself, and I was just discovering how deeply art runs through my veins. And I received so much incredible support from the faculty there and from the place itself, from the beauty of the mountains and the plains. It was just such an inspiring place to be, such a pivotal time in my life, as I'm sure it is for so many. I want to give a special thanks to Jeff Brown, who was my photography teacher, and to Mark Dillon, who was the first person to ever buy a piece of art from me, which was a photograph that I had taken. And of course to Michael Henderson, who was the choir director and the music teacher. It was music, it's always been music. That's my number one passion in life and my number one form of creativity. So I really feel like my time at Fountain Valley gave me permission to prioritize that and to follow a life in art, to follow a life of music. And so for the past 30 years, incredibly, this is my 30th reunion, class of 91. I have led a life of art and I have followed music wherever it took me. I have had incredible opportunities. I've played with some of my heroes and I'm grateful for so much. And then of course, I've had my heart broken by the industry, and I've realized that, leading a life of art isn't always the most straight and narrow path, right? But what I've realized also is that when it comes down to it, the most important thing is that when I sing, I feel peace. And when I sing for others, they feel that same thing. And in times like this, especially, this is so important, and we all have a special voice. It's not just those of us who are, creating art. It's really, we all have a really special way of lifting each other up, and that is just becoming more and more important. I can't wait till we can all be together in the same place again. I wish that we were all celebrating together right now. But I do want to say that this community of Fountain Valley, it's a global community. It's a beautiful place to fall back into. And during the pandemic, when it first started, I woke up one night in the middle of the night, really in a panic. And I reached for my guitar, of course, started playing and singing. And that's what brought me some centering, some peace, made me feel like it was all going to be okay. And I had the realization that I needed to make sure that I was playing for as many people as frequently as I could in whatever capacity I could. And so that led to 100 nights of consecutive music on Instagram Live and Facebook Live. And so many of you from my Fountain Valley community tuned into those. And it was just so wonderful to feel that connection that I know we all have as alumni from there. There's just a really special understanding that we share. So thank you again. I'm really honored. When I got the call from Will Webb, I really got pretty choked up because he actually knew my music, and I realized sometimes we don't know the impact that our work is having on others. And so if you're wondering if it's important what you're doing, just know that it is, and know that when we can be authentic and when we can put out into the world what we're really feeling, that it will have an impact. It will have an impact for the better on humanity. And so I am just so grateful for that. I'm grateful for all of you and can't wait to be in person soon.
Lily, David, congratulations, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Curtis, and congratulations to our newest Arts Guild inductees. The final part of this afternoon's program recognizes distinguished alumni who have been and continue to be pillars of our community and stewards of this wonderful school. Individuals like those we will recognize this evening have been instrumental in the success and growth of our school since its founding 91 years ago. The Young Alumni Award is given annually to outstanding younger alumni who are leading the way in their communities. These alumni model the school's core values of courage, compassion, curiosity, self-reliance, and open-mindedness, and have made remarkable achievements in their profession, career, or vocation. The award is presented annually to alumni 5 to 20 years after graduating from FVS. Trustee Dempsey Simonis, class of 2011, has led an impressive decade of service since she graduated from Fountain Valley. Guided by her ethos of paying it forward and giving back to the educational institutions that contributed to her growth. Currently, Dempsey is Assistant Director of Annual Giving at Columbia University School of Engineering. She is on the alumni board of her alma mater, the College of Worcester, where she graduated with a bachelor's degree in biochemistry and molecular biology. And this fall, she has just shared with us that she will begin work on an MBA at the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. And Fountain Valley is truly fortunate to have Dempsey as an inaugural member of the school's Young Alumni Trustee class. Now in her third year, she serves as co-chair of the Advancement Committee, the revenue-driving committee of the board. Dempsey leads with insightful questions, and the board admires her passion and commitment to her role. She also volunteers for Fountain Valley's admission department, representing the school at fairs and elsewhere. And finally, we are honored to have Dempsey join us as this year's speaker at the class of 2021's senior dinner next week. Dempsey Simonis, for leading the way, paying it forward, giving it back, and modeling the school's core values, I am pleased to honor you with the 2021 Young Alumni Award.
Hello, dear friends of Fountain Valley. I'm humbled to be receiving the Distinguished Young Alumni Award. I'm grateful to be a part of this community and honored to be selected. I am indebted to Fountain Valley for my personal and professional growth. Coming to Fountain Valley in 2009, when I first arrived on campus, I not only adjusted to the altitude, but also the Colorado culture. Attending Fountain Valley was transformational. I made lifelong friends, became an avid reader and learner, and developed a love of nature. For all that, I am blessed. Thank you again for this award, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Happy reunion, especially to the class of 2011.
The Distinguished Casa Serena Society Member Award is presented annually in recognition of dedicated and significant leadership giving to the school, exemplifying the principles and values of our founding benefactors. When Neil Albert graduated in 1971, the school created a special award for him, inspired by his work on the Student Council. And in the time since he graduated, Neil has maintained his devotion to Fountain Valley and has been similarly energetic and capable in his roles as trustee from 2008 to 2014. He began giving back to the school in 1978 and has been a member of the Casa Serena Society for more than 2 decades. After earning his MBA from George Washington University, Neil built an impressive career with over 40 years supporting federal agencies, industry, nonprofits, and academia in strategy development, acquisition, cost assessment, and risk analysis. He lent his expertise to Fountain Valley as a trustee, leading the Strategic Plan Steering Committee and the Development Committee, for which the school is most grateful. Neil has served as a class agent to the class of 1971, keeping them connected to the school and maintaining the special relationship they have with the Colorado Springs School for Girls class of 1971. Neil, thank you for your dedicated leadership, your consistent loyalty, and for all you have done and given to Fountain Valley School. I am honored to present you with the 2021 Distinguished Casa Serena Society Member Award.
Hello, I'm Neil Albert, Fountain Valley class of 1971. I can honestly say I've never thought that I would ever be considered for this award, let alone receiving it. It's been 50 years since attending Fountain Valley as a student. My time there was definitely memorable. So my years at Fountain Valley were overall very good, but I have to admit there was plenty of ups and downs. My ups were mainly related to the classes I were taking and the sports that I took. And the teachers who got me through them, people like John Patton, my math teacher who always made me laugh, or Robert Hickey, who was my science teacher, who actually made me cringe every time I was dissecting frogs. Dan Barney, who was the English teacher, who made me read Shakespeare and really appreciate it. Michael Kronk, who was my geometry teacher, who fixed my lack of understanding of what that topic was altogether. John Rauschenbusch, the dean of the school and the varsity soccer coach, who allowed me to be one of the worst goalies on the varsity team ever. C. Dwight Perry, my Latin teacher and advisor, who taught me Latin and that I have since forgotten. Peter Davison, who taught me Russian, which I have never forgotten, as I always thought that the Russians would eventually take over the United States and I needed to be prepared. Don Kardak, who was my basketball coach, who helped me be a better basketball player. And Hamilton Benz, who was just one strange dude, but a great music teacher, had a lot of fun, and he knew his music. I truly appreciated my time at Fountain Valley School. And it made me a better person, I believe. I learned to be on my own, and I made a huge number of friends and colleagues I would never, ever forget. The last couple of years at the school were really transformative for me. There were a lot of things that were going on and happening, things that I think were really relevant to the times at those times. One of the first was establishing a means to bring the Colorado Springs School for Girls and the Fountain Valley School together, closer together academically. This led to coordinating classes between the two schools in an attempt to bring the girls' schools, the girls to our school and be taught by our teachers, and the boys go to the girls' school and be taught by their teachers. We used to do that by going through and busing back and forth. And I think it all went well, and all those who participated really appreciated it and actually had fun. This was, in all sincerity, Fountain Valley School's first try at coeducation. As you all well know, not until several years later did Fountain Valley become co-ed and has thrived as that since. I think that's a wonderful experience and something that's made a difference. My last days at Fountain Valley were sad and difficult for me. College brings a whole new adventure, and losing contact with old friends is hard. But lucky me, the class of 71 voted me to be the class agent, and I've been doing that ever since, sometimes with help and sometimes without help. But I've always taken the job seriously. And I've contributed to the school continuously every year throughout the time that I've been there. And because I believe what I received, anyone who comes to Fountain Valley should get the same treatment. A real education, a better understanding of life and the path forward to the future. I got that and more. It's been 50 years, as I said, and I've been proud of what I was able to accomplish for Fountain Valley, for myself, and especially through my 2 terms on the Fountain Valley Board of Trustees. And to come back to why I'm here today, it was during those times I often attended the Casa Serena Society award sessions in person. The people who received these awards were so important to the school and are still today. People like Pleasant and Jerry Fauci, who have been a huge contributor to the school for many, many years and unbelievably generous. John Gannett, who of course is the head of USA Today. Phil Burling, who's a famous Boston lawyer, which is where I'm at. The El Pomar Foundation, which gave continuously to the school and others. The class of 1969, a truly great class that has made a difference to the school for many, many years. Chris Bancroft, a contributor who's been giving money for many, many years. David Street, who I actually really admired. Bill and Mary Lou Mullen, and of course, Houston Hart. I'm so proud to be in the same company as these folks and all the others who have made a difference. Finally, I want to thank Lewis Perry Jr. Without him, the school would not have given me and others the education I wanted, needed, and appreciated. I thank you all so much for this award. This really means a lot to me. I will always be grateful for receiving this immense honor, and I thank you. Thank you very, very much.
The Lewis Perry Jr. Alumni Award is presented to the alumna or alumnus who provided conspicuous leadership in support of FVS during the preceding year, which, in this case, presented some unique challenges. This evening, we will honor 2 individuals who have stepped up as stewards of this wonderful school, offering their tireless and unwavering support as we have navigated the uncharted waters of the COVID pandemic. In April of 2020, I had an important conversation with Dr. Dan Tyler, class of 1951, who has served and helped guide Fountain Valley for decades. He proposed that the school establish a contingency fund to weather the gathering pandemic storm. We had already cut expenses and had lost a good deal of revenue from decreased enrollment, diminished tuition, and unplanned expenses. Dan stepped up to develop the framework and verbiage for the FVS Resiliency Fund to ensure that Fountain Valley School remained strong with its financial foundation intact. An appeal was made to the school's most steadfast supporters, and the response was swift, generous, and heartening. Dan's significant gift came first, and to date, we have raised $2.8 million for the Resiliency Fund. I'd like to share a brief summary of Dan's remarkable career. For 30 years, Dr. Tyler taught American West history with an emphasis on water issues at Colorado State University, where he is Emeritus Professor of History. He has also been an Air Force jet instructor, banker, rancher, water rights expert, and author, with several published books. Dan served as a Fountain Valley trustee from 1995 to 2002 and chaired the capital campaign that financed the building of Sinclair, Figge, and Ballantyne residence halls, renovated Penrose and Sage halls, and wired the entire campus with internet. The Tyler legacy at Fountain Valley School spans decades and includes Dan's brothers, Sidney, class of 1950, and Robert, class of 1954. Sons Nicholas, class of 1976, Christopher, class of 1980, and Alejandro, class of 1996, and grandsons Jesse, class of 2012, and Cody, class of 2011. Dr. Daniel Tyler, for your conspicuous and invaluable leadership this past year in establishing the successful and sustaining FVS Resiliency Fund. I am pleased to honor you with the 2021 Lewis Perry Jr. Alumni Award.
Thanks, Will. This is a great honor, and it comes on top of a very special event that occurred last fall when your faculty and staff wrote me individual letters thanking me for a gift I made to the school last year. It all means to me that the faculty and staff are the heart and soul of Fountain Valley, and I will continue support them and you for as long as I'm able. Thank you for this wonderful recognition. I appreciate it.
Our next recipient of the Lewis Perry Jr. Alumni Award is Trustee Teresa Shea, class of 1988. She is an accomplished, dynamic executive in the corporate world and brings her business savvy to Fountain Valley as chair of the Finance Committee. Teresa contributes real-world perspective and divergent thinking to the board table, and the school has greatly benefited from her thoughtful guidance in addressing the financial impact of the pandemic. She has led a stellar career that spans 23 years and includes mergers and acquisitions, private equity, investment banking, corporate finance, and strategy experience. She served as Senior Vice President and Head of Corporate Development at FTD LLC, and prior to this, she served as Chief Corporate Development Officer and Senior Vice President at Eastman Kodak. Teresa Shea, for bringing your business acumen and expertise to the board table, and for your strong, untiring leadership of the Finance Committee in this turbulent year. It is with great pleasure that I honor you with the Lewis Perry Jr. Alumni Award.
Hello, Fountain Valley. I just wanted to send a virtual thank you for this year's Lewis Perry Jr. Alumni Award. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me, so thank you very much. I also just wanted to say a brief thank you for everyone who has supported the school this year, both inside the school and out. The broader Fountain Valley community has really come together during this difficult time with the pandemic and really shown a lot of wonderful support for the school. And that just means a lot. So thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing everyone soon. Thank you.
The Elizabeth Frolicker Smith Distinguished Service Award is presented for exceptionally meritorious service to Fountain Valley School and is awarded to those whose actions and deeds help the school continue its rich heritage of educating talented young minds and without whom Fountain Valley would not be what it is today. I am honored to bestow this award to Jake Emery, class of 1971, as this story illustrates a beautiful confluence of Fountain Valley's rich heritage, deep roots, and the ties that bind it all together. Jake, you have received many awards over your esteemed Fountain Valley career as a student and 30-year faculty member. This award recognizes your vital continuing role as school archivist and celebrates your special bond with Elizabeth Frolicker Smith. Betty, as she was called, was founding headmaster Francis Frolicker's eldest daughter. She maintained a devoted, lifelong connection with the school. In 1934, she was the first female to graduate from Fountain Valley, decades before the school became co-ed. Betty married faculty E. Jacqueline Smith and served the school in multiple capacities over the years, most importantly as the school's archivist. When she retired in 1982, She was considered Fountain Valley's greatest source of historical perspective, according to the school's history book. Jake is now Fountain Valley School's greatest source of historical perspective. He has spent the past year and a half digging through decades of materials, going down one rabbit hole after another, and categorizing and organizing the school's fascinating history. It is fitting that Jake is following in Betty's footsteps, as the two had a personal connection, and their families shared a multi-generational dedication to and love of the school. Jake, we look forward to the gems you unearth. John Wendell Emery Jr., for your wholehearted persistence, focus, and patience in preserving the history of our great school, it is my pleasure to honor you with the 2021 Elizabeth Frolicker Smith Distinguished Service Award.
Thank you, Will Webb and Fountain Valley School, for honoring me with the Elizabeth Frilicker Smith Distinguished Service Award for 2021. When I was a student at Fountain Valley 50 years ago, to me, Elizabeth Frilicker Smith was Mrs. Smith, but when I returned to Fountain Valley to teach Latin in the late 70s, Mrs. Smith became Betty. She was in the last stage of her professional career at FVS, and I was a fresh out of college working adult who had to overcome that awkward experience of calling a revered figure by his or her first name. With that brief digression, let me say it is particularly meaningful to receive this award because Betty was a family friend as well as a colleague who always had a warm smile and a thoughtful piece of advice for me, the rookie teacher. Now, as a retired teacher and a rookie archivist, I've once again found myself deeply beholden to Betty. She was the school's first and longest-serving archivist by virtue of her birthright as a daughter of the school's founding headmaster, followed by her secretarial service to her father in the late 30s and early 40s, coupled with her support of her husband, Jack, as he produced the Alumni Bulletin for years. Betty had a front row seat to the school's evolution, knowing and then identifying students, faculty, and all-important alumni who pushed it along. During my now 2 years of archiving, almost every picture I have come across between 1930 and 1975 has Betty's writing on it. And I cannot imagine where I, as an archivist, or the school in general, would be without her. The school's third headmaster, Lewis Perry, was a master of a pithy turn of phrase and used the term the Titans in reference to Francis Frilicker and the original faculty who helped establish our beloved school on the prairie. With all due respect to Lou and those Titans, I would add Betty as a Titaness. I'm honored to be recognized by the school, which has given me countless opportunities for growth and service over the years, and I'm flattered to shine in the light of Titaness Elizabeth Frilicker Smith. Thank you.
Our final award is the Distinguished Alumni Award, which is presented in recognition of extraordinary achievements that exemplify the principles and values of FVS in a profession, career, or avocation, or for direct service to the local, national, or international community. Latham Thomas, class of 1998, is a longtime advocate for women, children, birth workers, and marginalized communities around the world. A graduate of Columbia University and the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, she is the founder of Mama Glow, a wellness and lifestyle movement for women who seek to embrace a healthier lifestyle in their childbearing years. Latham is a self-described creative matrix, soulful doula, yogini, and self-care sorceress. She is one of Oprah's Super Soul 100 and appears regularly on network television and in magazines and newspapers. Latham has authored 3 books and is a doula to the stars, including Alicia Keys and Serena and Venus Williams. You may have also seen her highlighted on the school's social media channels last year when she did a one-day takeover of Gwyneth Paltrow's Instagram account as a part of the Share the Mic Now campaign that leveraged the accounts of celebrities to boost the voices of influential Black women to a broader audience. And finally, in 2017, she delivered a powerful and poignant message to our graduates at commencement. Latham, we have had the privilege to witness and celebrate your path and growing achievements, and we deeply appreciate your continued engagement with Fountain Valley School. We are also extremely and immensely proud of you. So, for building a compassionate career that has touched and guided the lives of thousands of mothers and babies, I am proud to honor you with the 2021 Distinguished Alumni Award.
Greetings, Fountain Valley community, head of school web, board of trustees, faculty, students, and staff. Community, thank you from the bottom of my heart for welcoming me into this space with you virtually to receive the Distinguished Alumni Award. I attended Fountain Valley School as a 14-year-old and left at 18 in 1998. Those 4 years deeply impacted my life. And I wouldn't really understand that until I looked back at the constellation of my life to really see where a lot of my values were shaped, a lot of the learning experiences that I had were molding. And it was in my high school years. I think it's so important to have community that supports you, that pours into you, that believes in you, especially people who believe in you before you even believe in yourself. And this is something that was an experience that I had. It was profound and it was impactful. The seeds of confidence grew in me during my high school years at Fountain Valley. I had a bevy of friends, supporters, faculty members who were there for me, who helped shape the person who I became. And the values that were rooted in that time of my life, I carry through to this day. One of the central themes that I believe sort of still continues to course through all of my work is that of community. And at Fountain Valley, I felt supported by community. Fountain Valley is a place where community is at the crux. It is the entirety of your experience. You are family with everyone there. And that community feeling, family, is at the root of what I do for a living, supporting families, supporting people at life transition, welcoming babies earthside. It was in those years, 14 to 18, those formative high school years, that I would develop the seeds of confidence, that I would develop the support systems that I still have to this day, and that I would also develop the rudiments of what will become my work later in life, known to be my life's work, which is Mama Glow. And Mama Glow has become a global organization with an imprint across the United States and 6 continents. Most recently, we launched our foundation, and our foundation is rooted in reproductive justice through the lens of education, advocacy, and the arts. Through the effort of the Mama Glow Foundation, we intend to continue our efforts in educating birth workers, doulas, and midwives, advancing reproductive justice and birth equity through education, continuing the advocacy efforts that we have led, including the Black Maternal Health Omnibus Act, which was presented in the 117th Congress, and the arts, which is a visceral expression and way for us as community to connect to the living human experience. These are the ways that we seek through the foundation to touch lives and to help shape and rethink, but also revision and take action on designing a world that we all can feel safe in. And so I just want to thank everyone who considered me for this award. I want to thank everyone who sees me and the work that we're doing. And I want to just acknowledge how good it feels to be seen. You know, there's a couple basic human needs that we have, and they are to be seen, to be heard, and feel a sense of belonging. And I believe that my experience at Fountain Valley was one where I was seen and I was heard and I felt a deep sense of belonging. And those values are woven into the work that I do to this day. I'm here to restore safety, dignity, belonging for families along the birth continuum. I'm here to do that in support of community and help us to continue to thrive. And I couldn't be more honored to receive this Distinguished Alumni Award and continue to be in service of community and continue to make you all proud. I thank you. I honor you. I bow to you. And I hope that everyone continues to have a great rest of this day. Thank you so much again for your consideration and for the honor. It really means a lot to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating this year's Alumni Award recipients and those whom we have inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame and Arts Guild. We've reached the conclusion of this afternoon's program, and we will now take a break before reconvening at 5 p.m. Colorado time for our evening program. See you in a bit.